What are you doing?
Oh my god.
I don't even know what's going on.
Don't forget cards at RitaYanez.com, and so am I. Under your bed.
Turn on the light! Turn on the light!
Hi there, Cancer. This is your weekly reading for the week of November 30th. I hope everything's going well for you. This Monday, we start off the week with a little bit of a funky vibe because we've got the Sun in Sagittarius squaring Neptune in Pisces, which is on the way out, but we're still dealing with it. Sun in Sagittarius was conjunct Saturn in Sagittarius, and that might be lending to the vibe of starting off this week. It just is very recent, and these are energies that are very specific, not always comfortable, especially for moon people like you. You're just sensitive to a lot of different things, and then just being sensitive in general. You know, if other people are acting weird because of their personal astrology, then of course you're going to notice what's going on with them. It's kind of hard not to, right? Monday, the card that you've drawn is the Justice card in reverse, and this is a card that indicates you're feeling somewhat like things just don't seem to be going your way because, of course, it must be the entire universe conspiring to wreck my life. And that's not really what's going on. This card, anytime there's a major arcana card, is indicating more or less that there are situations that are either beyond your control, not meant to be controlled. That doesn't mean relinquish control and let your friends get you, busted by tipping cows in a field somewhere. Don't ask me how I know that because it's a long story. But just understand that, you don't need to get involved in other people's mess. There's plenty of mess that you're going to be seeing in other people's lives. You just stay centered and do your homework, do your senior projects. Tuesday here we got the Four of Swords upright, and this is a card that indicates it's not time to start new things, but it's better time spent in finishing things up, especially for those of you that are in high school and you're finishing up some of your major projects for the end of the year, or you've got credits to make up, that kind of thing, and you're figuring out what you're going to have to do on your winter break. Get that under control because it isn't time to start a new project. Of course, this isn't time necessarily to start a whole lot of things because it's the end of the year and people have a tendency to start checking out early. Now, Tuesday, Mercury in Sagittarius is trining Uranus in Aries, your solar 10th house, and this is an energy where you feel that perhaps if other people really weren't all up in your business, you'd feel better about it. But it is pretty obvious that there's something going on. It can be made better, though. A trine energy helps us kind of blend and harmonize what's going on. That, like, look, hey, so somebody finds out that you're cranky in the morning and that it's difficult to get along with you for the first hour at school. Okay, well, now that that's out, we can move on and make concessions. Maybe don't ask me every 5 minutes what I'm feeling, what I'm going through, if you already know I'm cranky in the morning, and then we could all just get along. Mercury also in Sagittarius squaring Chiron and Pisces could make it a little bit more than sensitive, especially if people bring up drama from the past or if people criticize each other for what already has happened a long time ago and that they're still dealing with it. Maybe the best thing for you is to shh and don't say a word. Mercury, Sagittarius, sextiling Apollo and Libra gives you the idea that perhaps maybe somebody in your group, your tribe, your posse, your friends, maybe even your home, somebody needs to take that leadership position seriously and help direct the family to a greater goal. Also, Sun in Sagittarius, sextiling Ceres in Aquarius gives us the idea that there might be somebody who could be a step parent, could be sibling inherited through marriage, like a step sibling, maybe even a half sibling, maybe even some cousins moving in temporarily, and they're trying to take the control, and maybe it's not even their position to, but what are you going to do? I would let the adults hammer it out because I wouldn't want any of that either. I'm just going to listen to my music now. Wednesday, we've got the star card in reverse, and perhaps you're feeling like something you really wanted to manifest or come to fruition by now has not. Now, let's remember your age group. Right now, your biggest concern should be homework, schoolwork, studying, your friends, fashion, technology, and vines about dogs wearing glasses. You're going to college here soon. Some of you that are still listening to both of these forecasts for your son and rising in the adult readings and also for the teen readings, it's because you're right in that middle of that zone where you don't have the adult problems yet, but you're feeling like you're growing out of the teen readings. And if you're listening to both, then you're probably setting up to go to college, or you're already in your first year or two of college. Go for it. Continue to do that. Even if things haven't worked out for you in some ways personally in your life, remember that your job is just to do your bohemian hippie college thing, where the most you have to worry about is where you're going to get the coins to get your favorite latte. So just think about this, that really the adult problems are not a part of your life. What do I tell you guys all the time? Don't get married until you're in your 30s for girls. I like 40s for guys. Don't be thinking about having children until your 30s, because you are not equipped to make those decisions or to bring people into the world until you're ready. And that would mean for most of us, right? Planning on what your career is going to be. How long are you going to stop working for, especially if you're a female, or the dad who's going to stay home and play Mr. Mom? How are we going to do this? You know, you probably want to buy a house first, have a solid marriage, so that at the age of 22, you haven't been divorced a couple of times and have 3 kids under your belt. You know I'm giving you like the worst case scenarios, but I want you to look around and remember, I'm saying it because these things do happen to people who are not paying attention. I'm not putting down people with accidental babies. Those are souls and sweethearts that come into this world. But in a well-planned world, we don't want that to happen, because we're still living, growing, thriving, learning about ourselves, and having fun. And college is supposed to be where you're focusing on your schoolwork, not changing diapers. And if you ever feel like playing with babies, go borrow your cranky, teething neighbor's 6-month-old year-old, see what that's like when you don't have sleep for a while, and tell me if you could do high-quality work in school. Some people have done it, but it's not the easy way to do it. It's actually playing life on hard mode when you were given all of the keys and passphrases to play it on your age group mode. So don't make it more difficult than you have to. Page of Pentacles here is coming off the heels of Mercury and Sagittarius opposing Psyche and Gemini. Gemini, again, being your solar 12th house, where you're really coming into understanding the parts of yourself, the secret parts of yourself that are the bridge, the transition between the teenager and the adult, the child and the teenager. And so remember that you're just trying to figure out how to take these subconscious and even unconscious understandings that seep out into your dream world, your deja vu world, where you're like, God, I just feel like I know this person or this situation. Let me remind you of something. Just because you do have past life experience with a person doesn't mean that you're meant to be together. Sometimes having a past life association with somebody is like, no, that's not Prince Charming. That's Prince Murderer. Run in the opposite direction, because nothing good can come of this. And again, remember that you attract what you are, and you are usually who you associate with. So just make good decisions about people who you hang out with, because like, what's the worst that can happen? You start hanging out with people that are covered in tattoos. Before you know it, you get one of those tattoos that you wake up and do the walk of shame and go, oh my God, because there's a leprechaun on my leg. Oh my God, I didn't think of that before. So remember, associate with people that are on your level, that are congruent with the way you're being raised, the way your home life is, what you find to be real and not, what you find to be true and valid or not. And then that way you can be true to yourself and do whatever floats your boat. But make sure that you're doing it with a full awareness that these are the steps that we take into becoming adults, right? And I remember being one of you guys. That's why I do this for you. I do it for free. I don't get paid for this. This is not how I make money. I do it because I freaking feel like it. Because I feel like there was nobody there talking to me when I was your age. And I wish I would have had somebody like me talking. A lot of things would have been completely different. And though we know woulda, shoulda, coulda, doesn't matter. That's why I'm talking to you guys, because the adults can't make the changes you have. Here you guys are, bright, shiny, new, interesting, unique, special, psychic. Here you are, clean, fresh. You don't have holes in your face. You don't have tattoos on your body. You're still waiting to figure out who the hell you are, let alone, put the mark of approval somewhere on your body. You're still able to define who you are. You're still able to become what you want to be or avoid what you don't want to have in your life. So remember, it's all about you. The future is all about you. Mercury in Sagittarius, semi-sextiles Bacchus and Capricorn. And this is where you have a tendency to go the escape route, especially in relationships that maybe in your world are a little more serious than they would be on the outside. But again, there's some issue here with somebody not being congruent for you. And remember, you guys shouldn't be getting involved in very destructive relationships. The moment that they become destructive or controlling, there's something that you've got to check out and see what needs adjusting, not end up hanging out with people that drink or smoke or are stoners, and then you're like, freaking everybody forgot what they were supposed to be doing anyway. Also, the Mercury in Sagittarius is trining Minerva and Leo, your Leo being your second solar house. So remember, if somebody asks to borrow money and you don't have it to lend, you better be prepared to give it away because you probably won't see it come back in that house. So use your wisdom in this. If you were given $20 and your parents told you to hang on to it and don't waste it because you might need it for something, then you probably don't have it to lend. And that's there with the Page of Pentacles saying, look, somebody may come to you borrow money. You might not have it to do this. Mercury in Sagittarius, sextiling Cupid and Libra is talking about maybe some flings and maybe some little relationship energies or some passionate interactions with somebody or chemistry. But remember, this is short-term energy because Cupid comes, shoots you in the ass, and then moves along. So don't put too much stock in what somebody's saying. Just enjoy the interaction and flirtation and leave it right about there. On Friday, the card that you've drawn is the Seven of Swords in reverse. So there could be somebody who's not being honest with you, and it could be that you're not being honest with somebody else. Define why that's happening. Figure out why. Let's just say you're the one who's not being honest. Ask yourself why you have to be dishonest. Is it an insecurity you're covering up? Is it a lie that you have to cover up with another lie? Is it just harmless and you didn't mean for it to get out of control? Well, stop it before it becomes a derailed train. If somebody else is doing that, you need to sit down and think about, why is this person lying to me? And it might not be that they're lying about anything so harmless, but it's just the fact that somebody lies to you that really isn't going to sit well with you. And I can tell you from my own experiences that even though I tried to even have a long-term relationship with a particular individual who was lying about everything from the status of his divorce to everything else in the end, including giving up custody of his daughter, which was more embarrassing than anything, I should have listened early on. The moment that I knew he was lying about the state of his marital situation is when I should have said, get the hell away from me and don't come back, but I was too wimpy at the time and I felt sorry for every broken, stupid puppy. And that's really not the way, I don't mean to say that puppies are stupid, but people can be. So that's really what I want you to think about here. If somebody's being dishonest with you, why is this happening? What are you allowing, or what are you projecting, and what is it that you really want to be and do so that you don't have to lie about who you are? Mercury in Sagittarius squaring Jupiter and Virgo, your third solar house of communication is across the sky from that Pisces house. And so the ninth house could be saying, don't tell fibs because you'll probably get caught. Venus in Scorpio is sweetening the deal here with some romantic relationships. If I were you, I'd rather focus on the flirtations and friendships that don't have to become intimate. You don't have to feel pressured to do anything like that. You got a freaking whole life ahead of you to do all kinds of things. So it definitely doesn't need to happen at a time that you can end up, oh God, pregnant, out of wedlock, and Lord, you just need to make it into college and then do your thing and come out of that, have a career, and then decide if you're ready to bring children into the world. Saturday, we've got the Ten of Pentacles, which is showing me that you really hope to have a solid future, that you really just want to have family around you that feels normal and not dysfunctional. Look, like every time Uncle Joe walks in with a case of beer, what ends up happening? Barroom brawl, redneck pinch throwing fest, and some other stupid kind of thing that doesn't need to happen. And look, even if you do experience this watching it in your family or some crazy thing like that, remember that this is all going to make you a much better person and a much better parent and family member, because you're not going to have that kind of drunken redneck thing going on in your family, because you're like, no way, if we can't even be civilized, I don't want any of this. I'll just come throw my box of chocolates at them every Christmas and hightail it out of there. Sunday, we've got the Page of Pentacles, and this is a card that's talking about a need again to see what is it that somebody's offering you. A couple times it seems to come around. And if you're old enough to be in a relationship, for those of you that are 19-ish and still listening to this, maybe I've got the 20 teens, they're in between 21 and 19, and you're listening to both of this, be careful that this person who is a Capricorn, Virgo, or Taurus, perhaps some rising sign attributes, or maybe they look like they've got it together and they've got money in the bank and they got a good paying job, and maybe you think that they're almost finished with a degree, or they have, check them out, because there could be the element of something isn't quite the way it seems. Sun in Sagittarius sextiling Mars and Libra here in your fourth house could indicate that, yeah, there's a good potential for making friends, but I'm not sure how much further this could go. I'm not sure if it even can be utilized in terms of long term. That's why you need to just slow the whole thing down and study this person coming at this with the idea of being friends. Everybody's got to start off with friends. Once you figure out you can't even be friends with a person, that should tell you something. Sun in Sagittarius, semi-sextiles, Pluto and Capricorn. So again, we've got that idea that there's something here that wants to emerge, and yet in a way you have to discover it on your own. It still is not a difficult aspect in that it isn't a square, but still there's something here that needs to be explored, and Pluto's trying to show you, like, look over here. Did you check this out? Did you see who this person is? Did you look them up on the repository to see if they're some kind of sex offender? Just pay attention, because they may not be what they appear to be. Mercury in Sagittarius squaring Hygeia and Virgo is giving us the idea that we need to, keep problems from occurring before they start. Avoid certain discussions and conversations this week that could turn into freaking heated political debates. And I guarantee you, I only know 2 people with political science degrees. I only get myself involved insofar as my degrees can take me, and they sure as hell aren't political degrees. So with that said, don't get yourself involved in something that you know could turn into something volatile, like you say, hey, so why does everybody blame everything on Obama? When he's out of office, who are you going to blame now? Rah, 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 because Obama. And you're like, oh my God, they're practically backward like animals wearing clothing. And there's nothing that you can do about it. So don't have those conversations. Keep your lovely opinion to yourself. You're the only one that knows what you believe. And you're the only person that has to believe you. So Mars in Libra squaring Pluto and Capricorn also, again, gives us the idea that there could be like a little bit of an argument here, that family discussions might not go as planned. What's the best place to have a political discussion in your family, in the house, in the room? Which room is it? None of them. None of them. Because at the dinner table anyway, we should just be exchanging polite quips and talking about the remains of the day, or what do we do today, or what are our goals in one class, or this thing, or how did your dad's work schedule go? How did your grandmother, if she's raising you, how did your grandmother's day go? That kind of thing. So don't have any of these heavy discussions. And I think Cancer, you're going to turn out just fine. Remember, keep your butt in school. That's all you have to do. Go to college.